TV. We are broadcasting from Toronto, Canada. I am Elsa Abraham. Kindly take note of our weekly activities and satellite channels. On Mondays, we'll report on COVID-19. Tuesdays are African news. Wednesday, African history. Thursday is entertainment. Friday is editorial. Saturday is entertainment, and Sundays are your say. Our satellite broadcasting has begun. Kindly take note of our satellite channel frequency. Now sat vertical 12728. Symbol rate 27500. FEC 5/6. We'll bring you more details after this short break. Kindly stay with us. In today's history, we are bringing you the history of Oromo State. Oromo, the largest ethno-linguistic group of Ethiopia, constituting more than 1/3 of the population and speaking a language of the Cushitic branch of the Afro-Asiatic family. Originally confined to the southeast of the country, the Oromo migrated in waves of invasions in the 16th century CE. They occupied all the southern Ethiopia, with some settling along the Tana River in Kenya. Most of the central and western Ethiopian provinces, including the southern parts of Asmara region and farther north, the Wello and Tigray regions near Eritrea. Wherever the Oromo settled in those physically disparate areas, they assimilated local customs and intermarried to such an extent that much of their original cultural cohesiveness was lost. They were eventually subjugated by the Asmara, the next largest ethno-linguistic group in Ethiopia. The Oromo pursued patrilialism before the Great Migration, and that way of life still prevails for the great numbers of people in the southern provinces. In the east and north, however, long mingling and intermarrying with the Sidamo and Asmara resulted in the adoption of a sedentary agriculture. The southern groups, such as the Arusi and the Borana Oromo, have remained pagan. Believing in a sky god, they have retained virtually intact the Gada and highly formalized age set systems, a system in which all members of society are included in separate age groups for life. These traditions have been diluted in the north, where the Oromo are either Muslims or members of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, where many Oromo have, through acculturation, become more social equals to dominant Asmara. The rise of the Oromo. The challenge came from the Oromo, a Cushitic-speaking pastoralist people whose original homeland was located in the Sidamo-Borena plain. From there, the related Afar and Somali peoples have hived off northeastward to the Red Sea coast, the Indian Ocean, and the Gulf of Aden, perhaps in some way causing the pressures that finally erupted in Ahmad Grant's invasion of the Solomonid state. Some Oromo may have climbed onto the high Christian plateaus as early as the 13th century, only to be repulsed. Garrisons established along the empire's periphery by Amda Cheyon and Zara Yacob were designed to keep the Oromo out, but when these defenses were destroyed during the war with Ahmad Grant, the Oromo naturally resumed infiltration. The Oromo had an age-set form of government that changed every 8 years, when a new warrior class sought its fortune by raiding and rustling in order to provide resources that the natural environment lacked. Every 8 years from the 1540s on, they advanced further into the well-watered fertile highlands, a sharp contrast with their arid bush country, helped by their adversaries' war weariness. Demoralization and depopulation, the Oromo invariably won territory after territory. By the beginning of the 15th century, they had pushed northwestward into the modern regions of Asi, Shewa, Welega, and Gojam, and northwest into the Harej and Welo, stopping only where they were blocked by forest. High population density or effective mobilization of Christian forces. The Christians retreated into what may be called the Abyssinia, an easily defensible, socially cohesive unit that included mostly Christians. Semitic-speaking people in a territory comprising most of Eritrea, Tigray, and Gondar, and parts of Gojam, Shewa, and Welo. For the next 2 centuries, Abyssinia defined the limits of Ethiopia's extent, but not its reach, for the Christian highlands received the hinterlands trade in transit to the Red Sea and the Nile Valley. A complex caravan network linked with Michiwa, now Massawa, Eritrea, on the Red Sea coast with the highlands of the interior. Gondar, the new capital, became a regional center doing business with the Sudanese cities of Sana and Fazugli for slaves and gold, bought and paid for with coffee obtained from the Oromo-dominated lands. Demand for Ethiopian products increased considerably during the last quarter of the 17th century as Yemen, a major trading partner in the Arabian Peninsula, sought increasing amounts of coffee for transshipment to Europe. Arrival of the Ethiopian Empire. By the late 19th century, the northernmost Oromo had been assimilated into Christian culture, and Abyssinia's national unit had been restored after a century of feudal anarchy that ended with the accession of Johannes IV in 1872. Johannes forced the submission of Ethiopia's princes, repulsed Ethiopian expansionism in 1875 to 76, pushed back modest invasions in 1885 to 86, and limited the Italians to the Eritrean coast. Meanwhile, the ambitious king Menelik II of Shewa began to reconquest of Ethiopia's southern and eastern peripheries in order to acquire commodities to sell for the Ethiopian and ammunition he would need in his fights for the Solomonid crown. Italian adventurers, scientists, and missionaries helped organize a route outside imperial control that took Shewan caravans to the coast, where Menelik's ivory, gold, hides, and furs could be sold for a sizable and untaxed profit. The economy of the Red Sea region had been stimulated by the opening of the Suez Canal, by the establishment of a British base in Aden, and by the opening of a French coaling station at Obok in the Afar coast. Britain sought to close off the Nile Valley to the French by facilitating Rome's aspirations in the Horn. Thus, after 1885, Italy occupied coastal positions in Ethiopia and in southern Somalia. This limited the French to their mini-colony, leaving the British in control of ports in northern Somalia, from which foodstuffs were reported to Aden. After Johannes' death in March 1889, the Italians hoped to translate a cordial relationship with the new emperor, Menelik, into an Ethiopian empire. On May 2, 1889, Menelik signed a Wichale known as Usiali to the Italians, a treaty of peace and amity with Italy. The Italians' famous mistranslation of the article XVII of the Treaty of Wichale provided them with an excuse to declare Ethiopia a protectorate. To Italy's dismay, the new emperor promptly wrote to the great powers, rejecting Rome's claim. Since neither France nor Russia accepted the new protectorate status, Ethiopia continued to acquire modern weapons from these countries through Obok. When by 1894 to 95, Italy not only refused the rescind its declaration, but also reinforced its army in Eritrea and invaded eastern Tigray. In late February 1896, an Ethiopian army of approximately 100,000 men was encamped at Adwa in Tigray, facing a much smaller enemy force some miles away. The Italians nevertheless attacked and were defeated in March 1st, 1896, in what became known to Europeans as the Battle of Adwa. Menelik immediately withdrew his hungry army southward with 1,800 prisoner hostages, leaving Eritrea to Rome in the hope that peace with Anna would be restored quickly. On October 26, 1896, Italy signed the Treaty of Addis Ababa, conceding the unconditional abrogation of the Treaty of Wichale and recognizing Ethiopia's sovereign independence. During the next decade, Menelik directed Ethiopia's return into the southern and western regions that had been abandoned in the 17th century. Most of the newly incorporated peoples there lived in segmented society, practiced animal husbandry and cultivating with digging stick or hoe, following traditional religions and Islam, and spoke non-Semitic languages. In practically every way but skin color, the Northerners were aliens. Their superior weapons and more complex social organization gave them a material advantage, but they also were inspired by the idea that they were regaining lands that had once been part of the Christian state. Menelik and his soldiers believed that they were on a holy crusade to restore Ethiopia to its historic grandeur, but they did not realize that they were participating in Europe's scramble for Africa, and that they were creating problems among nationalities that will afflict the Horn of Africa throughout the 20th century. This is where we end today's topic on history from Ethiopia. Please like, share, comment. Let us know your thoughts on this particular episode. We will continue next week. Thanks for watching.